The Students' Union elections kicked off this week with candidates campaigning on campus and at their annual election debate held at Sadler's Bar on Thursday night. Candidates for both Vice President for Education and Vice President for Activities and Development went head-to-head to debate what they're proposing to achieve if they're elected. Here's diverCity's special, The Election Debate.
I hope we have a fantastic debate tonight. I know we have some fantastic candidates, so enjoy, and hopefully that's the last you'll hear from me.
Alright, so we're going to continue with the three candidates standing for Vice President of Education. They are Salman Bagadia, Izzy Cook, and Tim Searle Barnes. So we're going to start with Salman, and you'll have 1 minute to introduce yourself.
Okay, now I'm ready. Hi there, my name is Salman Bagadia. I'm, of course, running for Vice President of Education. Let me start off by telling you that it's a nice crowd we have here tonight, and I'll start talking about my policies actually, because I think that's what you guys want to listen to. So first of all, what I want to do is I want to bring in laptops for all students in all schools. Basically, I've worked as a program representative for the School of Informatics, and we've already implemented laptops for all first years. I understand now with technology how things are moving on in the future. So what I'd like to do is make sure that every student has access to a laptop, so they can complete their work and they have something they can work on themselves. So they don't have to share any computers. They don't have to go to the library, wait for a computer to be free, and it just makes things a lot easier.
Hello, I'll probably go over it as well, but I'll try not to. So I'm Izzy Cook. I'm a third-year creative industry student at City. So pretty much the reason why I think I'd be good at this job is because I've kind of been doing it part-time for the last year as in my role as an SRO. Some of the campaigns that we've been working for at the moment and hope to continue to work on is the living wage campaign, which was really successful and actually was achieved, which is something that we found out last week if you saw it. The free Wednesday afternoons campaign, which is something that I'm working on particularly in the School of Arts and Social Science, and they are very positive, and hopefully next time that won't be a problem, and I'd like to roll that out into the rest of the schools. I'm part of the catering contract tender group for the next tenderer, who will be decided this summer. So I will have the opportunity to decide with the university staff who is the next contract tender. And anonymous marking is also something that I'm also working on. And also we've asked for a trial for coin-operated lockers. So pretty much just all of these things are something I want to continue working on next year. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Tim Searle Barnes. One of the big things that I have found over the last 3 years is that I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of being a student here at City. One of the big things that I would say I have found is that in conversations with people, you don't have one problem. You've got so many different things from so many different schools. You can see from a manifesto that each of those points is inspired by a conversation I've had with those people from those schools. You might even be able to identify with themselves. It's not specific to that school, but it's where it came from, and I think it's really important that the VP Education has a solid idea of what the students are facing, rather than bringing these things out of their own heads. So my big things that I've found for people is that professional relationships with their tutors, that's the one that we need to be working on. Being able to support our professional services and academic services, they've got great service, but we need to be more involved in that. So those are what I'm going with, and I would really support it if you could vote Tim Searle Barnes, #1 VP Education, next week. Thank you very much.
Now we're going to have the individual questions, and Salman, you're first. So you explained that as SRO for the School of Informatics, you brought changes to ensure the students' issues are dealt with sufficiently. What issues were you able to resolve?
Just on the note, it was program rep for School of Informatics. But what I did was, a few students had a few issues with exams because there were a few issues with the exam papers. They were not correct, and I made sure I took on the students' views on the papers, and then I forwarded them straight to the programs office. I got an immediate response, and I made sure that I relayed that to the students, and the moderation has been taking place, and we are making sure that all students' results have been given accordingly by looking at their scores, and generally I think all students are generally satisfied with the result. Another problem was with the lecturers. A few students were having a few issues with their lecturers, and I made sure that any learning issues were dealt with by just talking to the programs office and making sure that the communication between the lecturers and the students was of sufficient quality. Thank you.
You have said that you're going to lobby for a full-time communications officer. Why do you feel this is important, and if you're successful, what would their responsibilities be?
Okay, hello. The reason I think a communication officer is kind of almost essential is because we do so many great things at the union, and they're just often so poorly advertised. What's the point in kind of trying to get us to do more things and better if people aren't going to the things we're already doing? And it lands on kind of the sabbatical officers to do that communication, which is distracting from their jobs. It's hard. All of the sabbatical roles have so many different elements to their job, and they shouldn't. And the communication is kind of almost like a non-stop job. To be updating the website, to be updating the Facebook, to be updating the events. It's something that you kind of need to constantly monitor, and sabbatical officers don't have necessarily time to do that, and so we don't. Yeah, it's not done effectively, I guess. So yeah.
Tim, you would like to spread the videoing of lectures into more rooms. Do you think this would be a good use of money for the university, considering its current redevelopment plans of the university properties?
A key feature of that right now is that it is already rolled out in, I believe, 60 classrooms. It's available. I don't know how many of you have actually experienced this in your course, though. The criteria for the room is that it has to have a capacity over 120. Okay, we've got a couple of big lecture theatres, that's great. Obviously that's actually not being rolled out because it's as a voluntary from your tutor, their role to decide that if they're going to do it. I'm going to say maybe we should be looking at the really high frequency rooms with maybe not so many people in them, and make it as a reward for attendance. I don't want this to threaten attendance rates, but we already have very low attendance. I don't know how many of you have had a full class in the last month. I know I haven't. So I think we've got to look at this as part of the way that we're doing learning and teaching.
Thank you very much. Let's get a round of applause for our candidates. We will now be talking to the candidates for Vice President of Activities and Development. The candidates are Priya Amarana, Luke Burrows, Natalia Radnasoxy, and Simya Shetty.
So if you're listening now, you'll probably want changes, and I believe that I can give you that. So at City, most of us are here for 3 years, and we enter as teens and leave as adults. The pride that I have for City, and the experience that I've had working with societies here gives me the main focus of bringing our community together. As president of Tamil Society this year, we have worked together to create fun and educational events for the whole community at City. And one thing that I've heard from most of the students that I've spoken to is that my fellow students that need a vibrant nightlife and more events that engage a larger proportion at City.
The first thing I want to say is that I've run 2 societies and started 2 societies since I've been here, and I'm also a sports captain, so I think I've got plenty of experience to deal with you guys and kind of know what I'm doing when it comes down to the activity side of things. First I'm going to ask you, I want to see hands up, who thinks that SU actually run enough events as it is? No one. Who thinks that they know exactly where to go to find out all the information about events that come up? No one again. That's what we need. We need one central place for everyone to go to and just find out about events and know everything that goes on. But apart from that, we need to also have just more events. We need more things for people to do. We need to have a refreshers fair, refreshers generally. We need to have a sports day or something like that. Just things that get people involved, bring a sense of social activity back to City. Since I've been here, we just seem to be lacking just a lot of things. And the main thing is events, making good events and making sure people get together.
University is a journey, and I believe it should be an unforgettable one. My name is Natalia, and I'm running for Vice President of Activities and Development. 3 years union experience shows I'm a passionate, confident and driven candidate who will work around the clock to bring you the best socials, greater employability and bigger platforms to showcase your talents and skills. Freshers with a variety of events and venues, events all year round so you can meet new people from different schools and different backgrounds. Improved communications, collaboration between societies and better training for sports and societies. I want to lobby for change to bring you more opportunities and a university experience you will never forget.
Hi guys, I'm Simya Shetty and I'm running to be your Vice President of Activities and Development. I think I went for the role because it is one of the roles that is so interesting because you can influence student experiences in more than one way as possible. You need a vice president that is approachable to you to be able to stop at any point you see them while they're on the campus and have a conversation. You need a vice president who you can relate to, who you are able to approach at any time. A vice president who is really passionate, who is extremely enthusiastic about being a part of City, and once you are able to associate that quality to your vice president, you will be able to relate to students. And I also bring a lot of experience to the role, so I think I'm a fair mix of approachable, enthusiastic and passionate. So do vote for me. Thank you.
So now we have our individual questions, and Priya, you're first. So there is no mention of sports or media teams in your manifesto. Do you have awareness of issues amongst these groups of students?
So the sports teams, I'm still learning about them because I haven't been involved in a lot of the sports teams in my 3 years here, but I think mainly the reason is because I haven't heard about them in my 3 years. In my first year, I didn't really know where the sports teams were, how to contact them, and I think that's an issue that, because I've struggled through it, I would bring it out there and make sure that people have access to City on Screen, City on Topic and City on Air. Within our Tamil SOC, we have created a Tamil Football League with other unis, and I feel like that's great, but we also want to bring our students to we have amazing players within our Tamil society, and we want to bring them within the whole uni. We've also created a football league within the other societies with like Indian SOC and Bangla SOC and just a few other SOCs, and I feel like that's what I will bring out there, so make sure that that's promoted to everyone.
Your manifesto has no mention of media teams. If you are successful in this election, these will become your responsibility. What ideas do you have for change and improvement?
So I actually mentioned it earlier, but the thing that I think about improving is possibly the idea of a radio station. So I think that would be a really interesting idea. Sorry, there. But I know it's been thrown around already. But if it's possible, I'd like to have a radio station that could be, in Sadler's, and people can listen to it and they can find out about events and kind of the news and things that are just going on, so that people know exactly what's going on around. So, yeah.
Second question, you aim to introduce more platforms for societies and sports teams to showcase that they do and recruit new members. What platforms do you mean?
So I'm talking about themed weeks and also social media profiles. So this year I introduced a platform called Ethnicity Network, which brings together all the kind of cultural faith societies, and it's a platform for all black and minority ethnic students. And I held an event called Culture Week. I want to do that again next year bigger. I also want to do it for the academic societies and the sports teams and things that like can get RAG and sports and societies all collaborating together to endorse and build up their profiles and promote them to students more.
All right, Sonia, you mentioned a lot about sports and media teams, societies, and RAG in your manifesto. However, there's very little regarding events. What kind of events would you organize if elected?
What I would like to do is have each of these different sections that the Vice President looks after, like so the media team organising their own events, something completely up to the students, because the role of Vice President of Activities would be to support the kind of events that students would like to undertake. I would like to support them rather than tell them do this or do that, because it's about what students like on campus rather than what the Vice President would like to do.
Sadler's Bar went back to normal after the debate. Candidates who were still present went to talk to students and pushed for them to vote next week. Voting will take place from the 24th through the 27th online and on the Central Walkway. On Wednesday the 26th, candidates will be at Sadler's Switch Up event to meet and greet students from 8 p.m. I'm Catherine Iorio, reporting for diverCity.